This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Prime Minister Philip Davis saying the PLP got no money from FTX and also denies statement that Alfred Sears made in the House on the BPL fuel hedge issue. We're talking with Bark about a golf tournament coming up. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, November 22nd, and this is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Chester Robards, still filling in for Dwight Strachan. It is a good morning for World Cup fans if they woke up early, like I did. Anyway. This morning, we are talking with Bark about a golf tournament that's coming up. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the Progressive Liberal Party received no money from FTX. Prime Minister Philip Davis said yesterday, adding that recent criticism of the Bahamas following the collapse of the Bahamas-headquartered cryptocurrency giant have been an unfair characterization. When asked if the PLP took any campaign financing from FTX, Davis replied, "Not to my knowledge." Asked if anyone in the party took any money from the company, he said, "No, I don't." Davis was unable to indicate whether any members of his cabinet hold any digital wallet associated with FTX. Davis says, "In fact, I'm agnostic to it. I do not hold any wallets." And Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Philip Davis yesterday maintained that he had no knowledge that the Bahamas Power and Light Fuel Hedge Committee had made requests last fall for fuel hedge trades to be executed to lock in oil prices. Although Minister of Works Alfred Sears told Parliament last Wednesday that it was the Minister of Finance who made that decision, Sears said a cabinet paper on hedging was addressed to the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Finance decided to reject the recommendation after reviewing it. Sears said, quote, the draft cabinet paper is addressed to the Minister of Finance for Minister of Finance's consideration. The Minister of Finance communicated that based on what was presented, it was not supported. That determination was communicated in October of 2021. And what is the relevance? That was a question he asked. And responding to criticism over the collapse of the Bahamas-based cryptocurrency exchange, FTX Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell, who also serves as chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, assured party supporters yesterday that there is nothing unusual about it and that Americans, quote, can talk about scandals. The PLP chairman made the comments in an early morning WhatsApp voice note to party supporters. He encouraged them to defend the party, quote, against this bull. The Chief Justice applauds government's move to create gender parity. Chief Justice Ian Winder yesterday applauded the government's decision to move forward with bringing gender equality to the Bahamas' citizenship law. He says, quote, the legislator, the government is responsible for laying laws to create parity in the gender issue. Winder said when he was asked about the decision, he said, quote, I think you would be hard-pressed to find anyone publicly, at least to say that our laws do not need reform to bring gender parity with respect to the Constitution. And more than 200 Haitian migrants have been apprehended off of Kisal Bank by the United States Coast Guard. On Saturday, they apprehended 217 Haitian migrants in a joint operation with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and the Cuban Border Patrol. 134 men, 13 minor males, 45 women, and 25 minor females were handed over to His Majesty the Bahamian ship Lawrence Major. Overseas, Indonesia's earthquake death toll rises to 268 with 151 people still missing. The death toll from the earthquake that shook the Indonesian island of Java leapt to 268 on Tuesday as more bodies were found beneath collapsed buildings, and 151 people are still missing, the National Disaster Mitigation Agency said. Agency head Suhar Yuranto, who, like many Indonesians, only goes by one name, told reporters that another 1,083 people were injured in the 5.6 magnitude earthquake that hit Monday afternoon near the city of Cianjur. The trembler sent terrified residents fleeing into the streets, some covered in blood and debris, and caused buildings around the rural area to collapse. Let's take a look at sports. And UCLA wins V4A Women's Championship. A couple of women's collegiate basketball teams that came into the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis women's tournament, unranked, gave fans in attendance a thrilling encounter yesterday afternoon inside the Imperial Arena at the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island. The game had to go into overtime before a winner was decided, but in the end, it was the University of California, Los Angeles Bruins who emerged victorious in their maiden trip as a team to the Bahamas. The Bruins capitalized off a couple turnovers in the extra session, got deep penetration and assists in the lane for senior guard Charisma Osborne, and a couple of key baskets down the stretch to record a 66-58 overtime win over the upstart Marquette Golden Eagles in the B4A Women's Championship game on Monday. And as a result of a torrential downpour of rain and a soggy field, the third and decisive game of the best of 3 senior boys softball championship in the Bahamas Association of Independent Secondary Schools has been pushed back to Tuesday. The decisive game between the pennant-winning Nassau Christian School Crusaders and second place St. Augustine's College Big Red Machine is set for 6 p.m. this evening at the Freedom Farm baseball fields in Yamacraw. And one got the feeling that there was no way you'll let Coach Yo McPhee-McEwen's core players were going to let her lose in her first collegiate coaching experience in the Bahamas. And collectively, they answered the call in the fourth quarter, putting on a defensive masterpiece that would certainly make other top-level teams take notice. McPhee-McEwen and the University of Mississippi Lady Rebels women's basketball team did what they had to do, cruising past the Dayton University Flyers 63-50 in their inaugural game of the Bahamar Hoops Pink Flamingo Championship inside the Bahamar Convention Center at Bahamar on Monday night. The Rebels turned up to intensify in the fourth quarter, holding the Flyers just 10 points, none in a 6-minute stretch midway through the fourth when they really took control. In international sports, the most lopsided trade in NFL history sent Herschel Walker to Minnesota for 2 fistfuls of players and draft picks that served as the pillars of the Dallas Cowboys dynasty of the 1990s. The Russell Wilson trade isn't quite so cockeyed, but 8 months in, it sure looks as one-sided as any deal since the Walker washout that Jerry Jones immediately dubbed the Great Train Robbery. What Denver has 33 years later might very well go down as the Big Bamboozle. Walker wasn't exactly a bust in Minneapolis, scoring 25 touchdowns in 2.5 seasons with the Vikings, but he was long gone by the time the trade blossomed for the Cowboys after Jones and Jimmy Johnson drafted Emmitt Smith, Alexander Wright, Russell Maryland, Alvin Harper, Dixon Edwards, Robert Jones, Kevin Smith, and Darren Woodson on their way to 3 Super Bowl parades. Wilson hasn't been anything like the Broncos expected when GM George Patton sent first and second round picks this year and next, along with 3 players for the 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback, who is supposedly still in his prime at age 33. As you look at sports and you look at the overnight, your first look at weather is coming right up. Now it's time for your first look at weather, brought to you by the Chick Charney Challenge, sponsored by Kalina. Your general situation, a persistent quasi-stationary front will continue to meander across the northwest Bahamas while supporting pockets of unsettled weather. Elsewhere, high pressure will continue to generate moderate to fresh winds across the islands today. Mariners advised to remain vigilant for possible waterspout activity, mainly along the frontal boundary. Beachgoers are advised to exercise caution due to the moderate to high risk of rip currents along East Coast beaches. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variable cloudiness and a bit breezy with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots, but increasing by evening to 15 knots over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet, but up to 5 feet in northeasterly swells along Atlantic exposures. Seas building up to 3 to 5 feet by evening over the ocean. For central and southeast Bahamas, weather variably cloudy and breezy with a few isolated showers and the chance of thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft caution remains in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots over open waters. Seas 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Your daytime high temperature today, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your low temperature, 74 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. We'll have your extended forecast for you later in the show.
Morning Blend Weather Check brought to you by the Strachan Challenge. The country's premier obstacle course run is back this December 3rd at Clifton Heritage Park. Run, jump, climb, and claw your way to the finish. The Strachan Challenge, the return. Sign up today at strachanchirin.com or call 421-8915 today. The Strachan Challenge.
When we come back, we're discussing some of the day's top stories. That's when Morning Blend continues here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Home fresh news and smart talk all day.
We're good for you. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Join Journey Rewards for free, and every purchase is another chance to win big monthly prizes like a cruise for two, plane tickets, free fuel, and so much more. Just scan, win, repeat. Fuel up or grab a snack or a drink at any Esso service station. Then scan the QR code to enter your purchase information. That's it. The more you enter, the more you can win. And win again. Journey Rewards. Scan, win, repeat. Free to join and easy to enter. Stop by an Esso service station and start winning today. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on www.guardiantalkradio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices and on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. We're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I am Chester Robards. Joining me now, Don Sargent. Good morning, Don.
Morning, Chester.
How's it going, man?
Still alive. I see that I guess I shouldn't say that on air. Yes, we've been having quite an interesting time, I should say. Lots of sports things happening.
Yes. So I've been distracted by World Cup this morning. And were you watching it?
I've been following the news on it. It's like every time I go to watch it, it's another story about what's happening in Qatar. I'm like, I just want to see the game. But yes, I have.
Yeah. So upset this morning. Messi and the favorite Argentinian team bested by Saudi Arabia. And the Saudi Arabian team played masterfully, I must say. It's a great game. Worth waking up at 5 o'clock for. But, we can't talk about World Cup all morning. But you can join our conversation on what we talk about today. You can tweet us MorningBlend969 or follow the hashtag MorningBlend. Be sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Leave your comments and read what others are saying about the topics on the show. You can email us at morningblend@nascar.com. You can always text us 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates do apply. We also like to hear your voice. 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. Also coming up in this show, more weather and traffic. We've got business news coming up in Morning Blend Business. And first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. All right, in the news. All right. We have got the government, the head of the government, Philip Brave Davis, who was questioned by reporters yesterday. They finally caught him and asked him about what the F&M was asking about, which is campaign donations from FTX, and if anybody who's a part of his cabinet has digital wallets by FTX, which, I mean, is that either here or there? If that's their personal investment choice, whatever. The bottom line for that is, did they get money, like free money from FTX? And the Prime Minister said he's not invested in FTX and didn't receive money from them. And then he says, when he was asked if the PLP took any campaign financing from FTX, he says, "Not to my knowledge." Is that just a safe thing to do?
What does that mean, though? That's not actually saying that that's not the case,
right?
Because it's just saying that I know.
When I was at the press briefing at OPM Thursday, I asked the financial secretary if the government is financially exposed to FTX, and he basically almost the same thing. He said, "Not to my knowledge," but you're the top finance man.
But didn't they tell us the same thing about the trip to Bermuda?
They told,
So I mean, this ain't the first time. So,
but is it just like giving themselves space just in case it's not true? Shouldn't you know whether or not it's true? I mean, I feel like those answers should be definitive. That's just me, and I think other people felt the same way.
I don't know. Have we ever had definitive answers from the Bahamian government? Has that ever been a thing where if they say something is yes or something is no, it absolutely, like, you could bet your salary that it's going to be exactly as they say? Or is there always wiggle room in there and things are always far more complicated than they usually seem? Has that always been the norm?
Right, it has it, but also, are we okay with this?
Yeah, I'm not. I find it hard to trust. Lots of stories from the situation with Carnival, to who is essentially, quote unquote, partnering with the Carnival, whether it was the government in terms of it was a political party. There's not a lot of room for trust, and it seems like whenever something like this, it's I think the word that describes all of this is mix up. There's plenty mix up, and I'm very confused and don't know who to trust in this situation.
I feel like sometimes I just feel like they don't love us. You know what I mean? Like in a relationship where, like you said, there should be trust.
Former MP spoke on this. They said if you don't do something, they don't love you. They doing a lot of that.
I don't know. I can't get with the non-definitive answers. I can't get with the ambiguity. To just later, I don't know. I don't even know if we're gonna find out anything. But the problem with it is these are people who are in the very position where they should know the definitive answer. Right? Like, if I got mustard on my mouth and someone said, "Hey, did you just eat a hot dog with mustard?" Even if I had a chunk of hot dog on my mouth and I said, I think I might have, they'd look at me like I'm stupid. But I feel like that's exactly what's happening. Like, you're asking the people who should have read every document to do with what the question is about, and your answer probably shouldn't be "not to my knowledge" or anything of that nature. It should be yes or no.
Lots of assumptions there that they read things and that they know things.
They're supposed to. I mean,
the right hand doesn't always know what the left hand is doing.
We are counting on they run in a whole country. We are counting on these people for our very livelihoods.
Well, there's so many jokes I can tell for this, but I won't. It does not inspire confidence usually, or even in instances when we get definitive answers, and then the press secretary says one thing, someone in cabinet says something else, the prime minister says something else contrary to that. Or, in essence, where the commissioner of police says one thing and the minister of national security says something slightly contrary to that. It's like, well, who should I be listening to? I don't understand.
Right. And
like, like get the story together, please, so I can
and don't you have a
make
whole
sense of it.
don't you have a whole communication department that you hired? Like you took these people out of the media to do this kind of stuff.
Yes, but this is the classic problem, I think, with every administration. There comes a point in time where there's just disconnect from what the public not really want to hear, but want to know about, and what they're actually putting out. And this is where, unfortunately, a lot, like I said, administrations in the past have fallen down, and then speculation runs wild because it's not even that they're not trying to control the narrative. It's that their attempts to do so are so poor and lackluster. And the answers are such not satisfactory. It gives off the impression of a lack of transparency and accountability. And so speculation runs rampant and public trust erodes. But it's like, this is such a predictable formula at this point. I think we wouldn't be here again. But once again, here we are, I guess.
But people have got to be, and they have got to be sick of saying to the public, we are transparent and all of this, right? When we turn around and we have to write stories like we write, when we have to hear answers that we hear, are they not sick of spinning their own selves around? Like they should have one cabinet meeting that focuses solely on getting their message straight. That's my suggestion to them. Bring this whole communications department that you hired and pay good money to, I'm sure, in and say, look, we keep fumbling, on some of these messages. Get us on target so we could stay on message. And I'm not suggesting that they should come out and be lying to the Bahamian public, but for heaven's sake, stop spinning us around in circles along with you. Like you said, Don, it doesn't inspire confidence. And the one thing we need right now, as the world spirals out of control, is confidence in our own government.
Judging also by the international press on something about this, right? It doesn't seem like that's translating internationally either.
But it never does, right? And again, that's part of the problem, right? I asked last week at the OPM press briefing. I asked the head man in charge of communication. I said, you realize, and there was a Financial Times reporter sitting in the briefing, and he had a bunch of questions for Clint Watson, and Clint Watson could not answer those questions, right? Fairly because he doesn't have the answer to them, and they were pretty complex questions about what's going on with FTX. But still, they're gonna come up. I mean, there's media. I've been emailed by at least 5 reporters from all over the world asking me for interviews, and I haven't done any, right? And they're like, oh, I'm going to be in town next week. Can we sit down and talk? And I'm like, do you know how many people from the international press are here, writing stories, getting information wrong?
Well, not just writing. Well, yes, they are writing stories, but I was going to say we even have YouTubers or those part of the press who have YouTube accounts who work for Vox, etc.
Yeah.
Who are right now currently in NASA doing stories every single day on this. And I'm not saying this as if this should be the reason why the government all of a sudden starts to get their narrative correct or essentially because we're transparent. But it's like
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I know, right? But it seems the only time that ever happens is when international press kind of like get on the case, which unfortunately is happening right now. And based on what I've been reading, we've been, well, not we, but I guess it's us, but the government of Bahamas has been torn absolutely to shreds. There isn't, like I said, a lot of confidence being inspired. And I remember, I think I got a video clip of that press briefing with the Financial Times reporter, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. But that's another conversation for another day. I'm not surprised by any of this, actually. And I think this trend we've been seeing since the beginning. It's a mistake that administrations time and time again make, and I fear that this is only the beginning. Because again, it's like, what is it, 4 more years?
Mhm.
Assuming we don't have an election. So that's usually does it usually happen this early in in an administration, or is it?
I don't know. That's a good question. No, I think
We
it
should
I think
track
it
these
started
things.
early in the last administration too.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
it started
did.
early in the. It must
It did.
be. Yeah. Oh, something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong.
Is it that we're looking at this wrong, or is it exactly as we're seeing it?
I think it's exactly as we're saying it. The last administration started out wrong too, and they hired press people to be press secretaries and. But see, they don't. I don't think they actually want somebody to help them to control the narrative. They want somebody to deal with those pesky press people, but not really, help to move the message in the direction that it should go. We a bit stubborn when it comes to that kind of thing as a people in general. You can't tell me what I need to say or what I need to do.
Kind of reminds me of Village Road. Who knows when it's going to finish, right? It's like, oh my God. The part that really bothers me or grinds my gears about this is that every single year, without fail, whether it's gold, red, purple, green, orange, whatever, is you're going to get the exact same thing. Like nothing really changes. The only thing changes is the color of the T-shirts that essentially assume office in the government.
Yeah.
And we have the same conversation. And I remember this from the early days of Guardian, when you'd have the 2 words over and over again: transparency and accountability.
Yeah,
Transparency and accountability.
and the thing about it is, like, we are not on the radio right now trying to criticize you. We're trying to help you. I want to help me help. That's what I want to do. There is some criticism in there, but help me help you, because again,
I would use the word critique, and we're critiquing it also not to be necessarily just simply being critical, but also we don't need to be here in the first place.
Right.
Like practicing like this, essentially answering questions while simultaneously not answering them at all. It just invites the same problems that essentially helps to bring down every single administration.
Right.
And it's such an avoidable situation.
Yeah.
That it doesn't need to be here in the first place. Don't make this mistake. We know what happens when you do.
Right. And then you tell the local media that there's an unfair characterization, which is the quote that comes from Prime Minister Philip Davis, because of the collapse of FTX. There's been an unfair characterization. Do you know how you beat unfair characterizations? Talk about the good characters that you want to portray, right? And not just one speech in the House of Assembly. People need to talk. And I understand why the Securities Commission can't talk. But, you need to talk. People who are in that sphere need to talk. We need to hear from Michael Halkitis. We need to hear from the Financial Secretary. We need to hear from Chester Cooper on investments. I mean, FTX was a big investment, right? They were going to build a $60 million headquarters, right?
Oh, they're supposed to build a hotel as well, weren't they not?
Right, yeah. That was a part
Didn't
of
work
that
ever
whole
begin on that?
complex. No. Work began. They tore down the trees. And people people are asking for our trees back. I hope the liquidators are trying to get those back. So come on, guys. I mean, this is important. And you can't call things unfair. And you can't start looking at the U.S. and saying, "Oh, but you're all the biggest offenders." We dealing with our own thing here, right? Like Fred Mitchell, Americans can't talk. They can talk. You know who could talk? The people who weren't involved in those scandals, and they can talk because they don't speak for the whole country, right? So they could say whatever they want. They're individuals, and they could criticize the Bahamas fairly or unfairly.
Well, they have something we don't have, right? Freedom of speech.
And freedom of information.
Yes, both those things which we also don't have in this country.
Yeah.
Or We have far more limits on ours than they do on theirs.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's what he's getting at. I don't know.
We have some calls coming in. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm good.
Okay. Interesting conversations between you and the other gentleman, and good morning to both of you. You're going to find that when you check the records going all the way back more than 50 years, you're going to find the way how the government of the Bahamas continues in the Bahamas, particularly when it comes to the media. See, today in 2022, the media has so many options available to it to get information. Not like in the 50s and the 60s. The whole range of situations is totally different. I can tell you from more than 50 years experience in the past, I've had challenges in getting answers from agencies of the state. But see, I have ways and means of dealing with that today in 2022, which I didn't have, say, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. So things have changed. And sometimes when you ask blunt questions, you're going to find you can get vague answers. I don't recall, or I wasn't informed, or some other vague terminology they're going to come up with. And you're also going to find, Chester, that the government of the Bahamas never admits to error.
Mm.
They will do things, and they will not come back to the public and say, yes, we made a mistake. We made an error. And we got tons of evidence to prove that with this current administration. Ministers tripping over one another, knocking one another down, contradicting one another. The Prime Minister say one thing, then the Attorney General say another thing, then his Minister of National Security say something else. You have mountains of evidence to prove that. So when you ask those questions, and I heard the things you were trying to get from them, from the media has to be very creative, you know. Do not expect the government of the Bahamas to give you the truth. You're not going to get it from them. You got to dig for that. And there are ways and means of digging and finding out what the real facts are. And once you can get that to the public, I believe the media should be concerned about getting correct, precise, accurate information to feed the public. Then you're going to see changes happen in the country where the public are going to start to think differently, because the media is supposed to help them to understand what's going on.
Right.
Now, we do have freedom of speech. That's in your Constitution. All we have to do is use it. As I heard the other gentleman say, we don't have freedom of speech. We do have freedom of speech. Now, freedom of information, now that's a different kettle of fish altogether.
We have freedom of expression.
Oh, we got freedom of expression. Freedom of expression includes freedom of speech. Did you know that?
Yes, it is said that, but then there's also...
But see, you got to take it seriously. Don't take the Constitution lightly. The Constitution, this is a problem we have with Bahamians. They take the Constitution lightly. They don't know the Constitution. Freedom of expression includes freedom of speech, freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference. And I can tell you right now, we got a problem with that on the air.
We don't have laws that curb our freedom of expression, no?
Pardon? I didn't hear that.
Very vague sedition laws, criminal libel is still on the books in the Bahamas. One of the only jurisdictions on this side of the pond that does that. Are we going to pretend as if that isn't the case?
What do you mean?
Criminal libel is on the books.
No, I'm not even discussing that.
But that is a part of freedom of expression. Libel. You cannot have freedom of expression and say that you have this ultimate freedom if you do not also acknowledge that you also have limitations on it.
Listen, with law, you have to have limitations.
And I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't, but I'm just saying we cannot sit here and suggest that the same freedoms that we have are the same freedoms that Americans have. It's not.
No, you have two different systems. This is where we get all mixed up. You got an American system, you got a Bahamian system. We get ours from the British, right? So you can't see, this is the problem we make all the time, always comparing ourselves with the United States. They got a different system over there. Now, some things in our country need to change, particularly with the laws. There are some laws that need to change. But are we working?
But that's also what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that, yes, we do have a problem with our criminal libel laws, which I'm not the first person in the universe to ever bring up for the fact that that is a problem, right? There's a reason why different jurisdictions are rid of those laws, or at least at minimum amended them.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with that. See, there are some things that need to be amended in this country, but if the average person, if the people are not getting the correct information and being fed with information that could assist them in bringing about changes, you're not going to have change. That's why we're stuck in this 50-year run since independence. Look at the state of the country today, 50 years later. Look where we are. And we're still talking about problems that existed 50 years ago, which have multiplied and are more complicated today than ever before. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we have to work on that, and the media can help the public, and there are creative ways. The media has to be extremely creative. See, because I don't worry about them anymore when they say foolish things. And there's always a way, gentlemen, to get around the crap that they put out there. Yeah. And there's a way to, if we are serious now, with factual, correct information. They're not going to give it to you. You know what they will do when you bring it out? They go quiet, and they stay very quiet as if they ain't got no answer. All of a sudden, their mouth thick with glue. Mm-hmm. They can't talk. And it is embarrassing because what it does is you have a government that talks about transparency and accountability. Those are just words they throw at you. Yeah. But are they transparent, and what does that mean? Are they accountable? What does that mean? Because I've heard these kind of off-the-wall remarks coming from the Prime Minister and ministers in the government. And so you're not really getting clear-cut answers to serious issues that affect the payment people. Yeah. So the media has to be extremely creative in being able to get the facts, get the answers, and give it to the public. Once you start to feed the public with correct information, you're going to see all that crap that has been hanging around for the last 50 years plus change, but it requires work. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you. Appreciate that call.
Well, to comment on something they said, too, about that the media has to get creative. I understand their perspective, but I'd like to say if we find ourselves, especially as the media, having to find all these creative backdoor channels to get basically the truth consistently when asking a question directly pertaining to elected officials, that's a sign that either someone is obfuscating the truth or lying. And if that is consistently how, let's say, for example, I'm not suggesting that they're lying, but certainly there seems to be lots of omissions, and information has systematically, in every one of these instances where there's lots of questions from the media on the affairs and doings of the government, answers change as time go on. And I don't mean in the sense that information becomes clearer. A yes becomes a no, and a no becomes a yes. We didn't do this turns into, yeah, okay, maybe we kind of did this. We wasn't 100% sure. So, like, if you don't have the answer to something, come back to the public or the press on the issue, or admit for once, which seems to be very rare, I do not know. I will get that answer for you, rather than, no, this wasn't the case, and then you talk to another cabinet official, and yes, this is in fact the case. Or, for instance, you ask two different people who are in positions of authority in the country, are we in a crime epidemic? Is there a crime wave? Is there a problem with crime in the country? And one says no, and the other stands up in front of the press and says, not even a day later, yes, we are absolutely, and have a massive issue with crime in this country. Yeah. And it's like, I'm so confused as to what's going on here as a citizen. Like, ignoring the fact that I even work in media, just looking at it as a regular citizen, it's like, who's actually in charge? Like, who actually knows what's going on, right? And then the speculation goes from there. Yeah. And if you've looked at, or if anyone, especially not just from this administration, but period as a behavior, looked at the commentary that takes place on social media, which seems to be a good heartbeat to see what the opinions of Bahamians are, right? There is also confusion there. I don't understand why this is happening. I don't understand why that is happening. And these are easy issues to get ahead of. But it just seems as though every administration is doomed for some reason to make the same mistakes as those that came before them. So here we are.
Yeah, let's go to a break. So we can get these messages in, and we will return.
Wake up.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. He's one of two people being called a hero after tackling a gunman at a gay club in Colorado Springs. Army veteran Rich Fierro says his military training kicked in.
I just knew I got into mode and I needed to save my family. And that family was, at that time, everybody in that room.
5 people were killed and at least 17 wounded in the nightclub attack on Saturday night. The suspect's in the hospital facing murder and hate crime charges. Just as Americans get Thanksgiving, freight trains may grind to a halt. The AP's Norman Hall.
Consumers could see higher gas prices and shortages of some of their favorite groceries during the winter holiday season if railroads and all of their unions can't agree on new contracts by an early December deadline. The likelihood of a strike that could paralyze the nation's rail traffic grew on Monday when the largest of the 12 rail unions, which represents mostly conductors, rejected management's latest offer that includes a 24% raise. With 4 of the 12 unions holding out for a better deal, it might fall to Congress to impose one to protect the U.S. economy. I'm Norman Hall.
Here's some good news. The price of gas is down to $3.63 a gallon on average as many Americans get ready to hit the road for the holiday. 12 cents less than a week ago, but 23 cents higher than a year ago, says the AAA. Stock up on warm clothes and blankets. That's the advice from one of Ukraine's energy chiefs to residents as they get ready for what's expected to be a Russia's been pounding the power grid in Ukraine, and rolling blackouts are expected through March. The death toll from an earthquake in Indonesia is rising. 268 people now known dead. Bodies are being found under collapsed buildings. This is AP News. Now to Iran and its nuclear program.
Iran says it's begun producing enriched uranium at 60% purity at its underground Fordo nuclear plant. Iran's official news agency described the step as a response to a recent resolution by the UN's nuclear watchdog, but did not elaborate. The increased enrichment is seen as a significant addition to the country's nuclear program. Enrichment to 60% purity is one short technical step away from weapons grade levels at 90%. Non-proliferation experts have warned in recent months that Iran now has enough 60% enriched uranium to reprocess its fuel for at least one nuclear bomb. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi is seriously concerned that Iran has still not engaged probe into man-made uranium particles found at certain sites in the country. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
It's time for your morning blend traffic alert. This segment brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. As you would have guessed, Gladstone Road traffic is thick already, but crossing over the Fire Trail Road looks like it's moving ever so slow. Sir Butler Highway traffic is thick, reaching the roundabout at Fire Trail Road and almost halfway to Carmichael Road already. That's causing traffic on Fire Trail Road to back up almost to Gladstone Road. Eastern Road looking very bad this morning. Traffic is way past San Souci. You don't have many alternatives on that road. to get to where you're going. Traffic really is building up quickly. Bernard Road looking like it's getting thick already. Traffic moving slowly there. Backed all the way up to what looks like Kingsway. And traffic on Carmichael Road, eastbound to Blue Hill Road, really bad. It is a bad morning this morning. Blue Hill Road, traffic backed up in the northbound lane all the way to St. Vincent Road. You want to get out either early or super late this morning. There is a lot of traffic. We'll have an update for you again in the 8 o'clock hour. That's your morning blend traffic alert. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan. And don't pay until February 2023. And now it's time for your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. A persistent quasi-stationary front will continue to meander across the northwest Bahamas while supporting pockets of unsettled. Elsewhere, high pressure will continue to generate moderate to fresh winds across the islands today. Mariners are advised to remain vigilant for possible waterspout activity, mainly along the frontal boundary. Beachgoers are advised to exercise caution due to the moderate to high risk of rip currents along east coast beaches. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variably cloudy and a bit breezy with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots, but increasing by evening to 15 knots over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet, but up to 5 feet in northeasterly swells along Atlantic exposures. Seas building up to 3 to 5 feet by evening over the ocean. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather variably cloudy and breezy with a few isolated showers and the chance of thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft caution remains in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots over open waters. Seas 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. High temperature today, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your low temperature, 74 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, the previously mentioned frontal system is expected to linger across the northwest Bahamas before eventually transitioning to a warm front exiting north of the islands by Friday morning. And we'll have your outlook for Wednesday and Thursday in the 8 o'clock hour. That's your weather check.
Sherwin-Williams Paints wants to make your holiday a splash jollier. November 21st through December 23rd, come deck your walls with color by stopping into either the Tonic Williams Darling Highway or Prince Charles Drive location and take advantage of their Christmas sale of up to 20% off. And when you spend $100 or more, you enter to win prizes like hotel stays, boat excursions, interior designer consultations, and more. Stop on in to win. Sherwin-Williams Bahamas, find color in every day.
We'll be back with Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. RBC, get along to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get along and don't wait till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Canadian/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get along and don't wait till New Year. RBC.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, fat inclusive. Add an apple pie for just $1 more. Say what? At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay off all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit Fidelity's locations or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all Florida Auto Parts trusted parts rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carved body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Finding more time on your hands lately? Need to start or finish a paint project at home? Well, all 3 Sherwin-Williams Paint and Art stores are open to serve you. Find and follow them on social media for more info at Sherwin-Williams242 and check out their website at SherwinWilliamsBahamas.com.
Happy holidays! Nassau Tile is having its Christmas sale. That's right, from November 21st, you can save up to 25% off selected ceramic tiles or up to 60% off selected items. And take 20% off store-wide on all tile, thin set, grout, and mosaics. Our tile experts are ready to guide you in selecting the right tiles for your kitchen backsplash, living room, bathroom, walkway, and patio. So don't miss your chance to spruce up this holiday season. Call 322-2100 or visit our showroom at 43 Dowswell Street and save big with Nassau Tile, where the world is at your feet.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robards along with Don Sargent. Want to get to some of your text messages before we shoot off to the news break. This person says, good morning, Chester. Just want to tell you thank you. They came out to cut the grass at Gambler Clinic. We need to tell them to fix the steps, but one thing at a time. Awesome. Thank you for telling us about that. This person said, could you please try and find out about the massive fire over yonder key in Exuma last night? I saw the pictures. We haven't heard about any casualties, but I did see the pictures last night. Also, whether it's neither here or there, he could have asked each cabinet member if they received FTX funds and come to a definitive answer to that question. Maybe they should have just come out and tell him after anyway. Alas. This person says, Chester, we have a case of it wasn't me when it comes to PM and Sears over BPL. This government cannot be trusted. Well, that's the way they make you feel. Happy Tuesday, Chester and Dawn. Not to my knowledge, by the PM is the same answer as he said about BAMSI Insurance. Yes is the implied answer. Trust me, I was advised, as he says, it's the same window he always jump out to get out of a snare. Okay. We got to get to the news break, and we'll be back on the other side.
Start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And now at 8:16, it's time for your final look at weather this morning, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Your general situation, a persistent quasi-stationary front will continue to meander across the northwest Bahamas, while supporting pockets of unsettled weather. Elsewhere, high pressure will continue to generate moderate to fresh winds across the islands today. Advised to remain vigilant for possible waterspout activity, mainly along the frontal boundary. Beachgoers are advised to exercise caution due to moderate to high risk of rip currents along east coast beaches. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variably cloudy and a bit breezy with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots, but increasing by evening to 15 knots over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet, but up to 5 feet in northeasterly swells along Atlantic exposures. Seas building up to 3 to 5 feet by evening over the ocean. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather variably cloudy and breezy with a few isolated showers and the chance of thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft caution remains in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 for open waters. Seas 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Your daytime high temperature, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 74 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, the previously mentioned frontal system is expected to linger across the northwest Bahamas before eventually transitioning to a warm front exiting north of the islands by Friday morning. Your outlook for Wednesday, variably cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms across the northwest Bahamas. Partly sunny and warm with a chance of isolated showers elsewhere. Small craft caution will remain in effect for the southeast Bahamas. Winds southerly at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times in the northwest and central Bahamas, and east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest and central Bahamas, and 4 to 7 feet in the southeast Bahamas. Your outlook for Thursday, weather partly to mostly sunny and warm with a chance of isolated showers. Winds northeast to east at 10 knots or less in the northwest and central Bahamas, and easterly at 10 to 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 3 feet or less, 2 to 4 feet in the southeast Bahamas. Your tropical weather outlook, the tropics remain quiet at this time, and tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 5 days. As your weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. Time again for your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. It looks like some good news coming out of Gladstone Road. The road looks pretty good. Some pockets of traffic, but it seems to have loosened up a bit. Though JFK westbound is a little tight, as well as the road JFK eastbound right after Bahama Boulevard. Not sure what's going on there. The traffic at Saunders Beach near the roundabout there is backed all the way up past Go Slow Bend. And traffic slow after you pass there, heading east. Eastern Road seems to have not improved. Traffic backed up past San Suzy still, with a tight flow westbound. Carmichael Road has gotten a little worse, and Blue Hill Road northbound is still thick. That Carmichael Road, Blue Hill Road junction is packed with traffic. On Independence Drive, traffic thick between Blue Hill Road and East Street. You probably don't want to go there in both directions. Traffic on Prince Charles Drive backed way up. You probably want to avoid that area. It looks like it's way past Doris Johnson. And as you cross Fox Hill Road, the westbound traffic is backed up to Seagrape Shopping Plaza, it seems, but might be flowing in that area ever so slightly. But wow, a lot of traffic this morning. That's your morning blend traffic alert. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean bank.com/loan and don't pay until February 2023.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. To RBC, get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Link up with BTC. Did you get the speed bump? All BTC subscribers with a bundled fiber connection receive the speed increase. Totally free and totally automatic. It's just another way of ensuring that we are delivering best value to our customers, keeping them on the leading edge of everything awesome. Link up with BTC to get your speed bump today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com to learn more.
Get a merry makeover this Christmas from Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotiaplan loan to win a home renovation. This Christmas, unwrap the celebration. $3,000 for your home, new lamp, new decor, new couch that you
Win
own.
a $3,000 home goods gift card when you apply for a Scotiaplan loan this Christmas. We're giving you the gift of a low interest rate and up to 2 months with no payments. Plan the perfect Christmas with your Scotia Plus. Benefit from flexible payment terms. Apply for a Scotiaplan loan now to enter to win a merry home makeover.
Okay, class, let's begin today's history lesson. Ancient civilization used to visit stadiums to watch musicians perform. It was called a live concert.
Teacher, what year was that?
Researchers believe it was around 2019. Normal life feels like a long time ago. As things return to normal, remember it is essential to be fully immunized against all vaccine-preventable diseases like COVID-19, rubella, polio, hepatitis, mumps, and influenza. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Canada, and the United States of America.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robards along with Don Sargent, and we are switching gears for the moment. We're talking to BARC. We're with Laura Kimball, the chairman of BARC. And welcome to the show.
So happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. And I'm sure you've been on the show before.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We really appreciate you guys' support.
Yeah, no, absolutely. because you do good work. So let's start with what Bark is and explain to the listeners what you do.
So we are focused on spay, neuter, and education. Right. And we recently took on a whole new level this year with a mobile clinic. Right. Currently, we're on Cowpen Road. So I'm sure people out there have seen this amazing, huge 26-foot bus with, people on it, driving around is quite something to see. So, so we're spaying and neutering. The clinic operates Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right. And we're doing anywhere from 15 to 22 spay and neuters a day. So this year so far, and then of course we still work with the local vets as we used to, before we took on the mobile clinic. Right. So as a combination of the mobile clinic and the local vets, we have done about 4,100 spay and neuters so far up to October 31st.
Wow, that's huge.
It's so the most we ever did, before, of course, was about 3,000. Right. We started operations with the mobile clinic April. Okay. This year we're about 4,100. Next year we hope to be more between like 5,000 and 6,000. So basically, Bark's goal is to reduce the unnecessary suffering for the dogs and cats in the Bahamas because, as everybody knows, there's so many dogs on the streets. There's so many cats out there, and if we can educate people to spay and neuter their pets and also, spay and neuter the stray and roaming dogs that have a food source that are quite happy living their lives with their street sense and, they're so, they know where they're going all day. Right. But if they're not having babies, it will really help. Right. The Humane Society is just overloaded. They've been over max capacity. Since COVID, it's been really crazy. Of course, people, struggling to feed themselves, let alone their pets. Yeah. So we just have way too many animals on this, in this country, especially in New Providence.
Yeah. So explain to us how it works. Do you go out and capture stray dogs and cats? People bring their
both.
pets to.
Yes, both exactly. So we have the hotline that if you cannot afford to spay or neuter your pet, you can call us. Of course, like any donation, whether it's $5 or $20 cost, because we have to fundraise a lot, which we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah. And so, anything you can do to help offset the cost is a huge help, but we also really encourage people to get their pets spayed and neutered. So if you can't afford it, you can call 427-SPAY or 427-7729. And we have our website and Facebook page and Instagram, so definitely follow us on there. So you can call and bring in your pet. And then we have an amazing team who go out also, a lot of volunteers who bring in, cats. We have humane cat traps where we'll trap, a lot of people feed cats and then all of a sudden 3 cats turns into 20. And so we have these really nice little humane traps where they just like set off this little thing and they go in the thing and we just spay and neuter them and then put them back. So
right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Trap.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Yes, and dogs.
Cats.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. It's one's just bigger.
Right. Yeah. Wow. And I know you have help. Talk about who does the actual spaying and neutering and those kinds of things.
Yeah, so we going to the next level, we hired a full-time vet. Right. So we have a full-time team. We have our clinic coordinator, and then we have our full-time vet and assistant, and then another person who's sort of our outreach animal coordinator. And so she's always out on the road, spreading, getting the flyer out, encouraging people to bring in, or going out and collecting animals, because a lot of people obviously can't bring them in. It's a lot of demand.
Yeah. Now, what are the new mobile clinic? Is it a clinic?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's. Yeah. If on our website you can actually see a little video of it. It's a full operating theater. It's 26 foot. It's like basically imagine an RV turned into a vet clinic.
Right. So do you actually do sometimes more than just spay and neutering it?
No, we really focus on spay and neuter. Yeah. So if there's, vet, like other things, then we refer to local vets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Even the stray animals.
Yeah. Of course, broken legs are a common thing or other issues. Right. But we work closely with local vets, as we have done. Yeah. So we're always working with everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, all of this costs
a lot of money.
I mean, 4,100 dogs is
Yeah.
an amazing amount.
Yes.
I couldn't even fathom that amount of animals when I think about it. But
Oh, there's so many. We have it's crazy out there. We did a population study, and I mean, I think we counted. It's so crazy how those stats all work. They estimated like 86,000 animals in New Providence, and then of that, about 10 to 20,000 stray and roaming. So, and when we say stray and roaming, usually they have they're community-owned animals, so they have someone that looks out for them, but they're not fenced in. They're out there kind of, dealing with, living their life.
Yeah.
And, but we really want to encourage people to spay and neuter.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what your education entails, how you go about it.
Yeah, so we're really excited. Of course, with COVID, we weren't getting into the schools. We did do a coloring book, so we have our, which we hand out to the kids. And now we're just getting our education program back up and running. So we had a volunteer in a school last week for the first time, and just talking to kids about responsible animal guardianship. A lot of kids here, unfortunately, have been bitten by dogs. So it's just talking about safety as well.
Right.
And why we want to spay and neuter. Because, there's a lot of people, I would say most people are pretty open to spaying and neutering their pets. Yeah. But some people are resistant because they personify the dogs for certain things. Yeah. But which we try to explain that, animals actually dogs do not mate for pleasure. Right. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing you got to explain that. Yeah. So all of this costs money.
Yes.
And you have is this your biggest fundraiser? You
yes. This is our biggest fundraiser. This is our second. I mean, we're so happy for this opportunity. Last year, somebody approached us, Mario Carey, and to have this amazing opportunity to hold a golf tournament. Okay. And so we did it for the first time last year, and this is our second year, and we're really hoping to raise. Last year we raised $64,000, and this year we're really hoping to raise $100,000, much near the golf tournament. So, we just want to share, huge thanks to our title sponsor, Alive, who sponsored last year as well, and we have 43 corporate sponsors in different levels. Wow. Yeah, so we're really grateful to everybody who's and a lot of prize sponsors. So we have amazing prizes for people to win. So, we just want to we have about 30 spots. So that's 15 teams. So definitely if you're a golfer, you want to sign up. We have everything on our website, barkbahamas.com, and there's a link for all of the golf tournament information.
Yeah. Where is the tournament going to be held?
So it's December 11th, which is a Sunday, and it's at the Ocean Club.
Ocean Club.
So it's a beautiful location, and super, fun, and we're going to have, lots of goodie bags, and it'll be a really fun day.
Yeah. Did you have that amount of teams last year?
Yeah, we did. Okay. It was, so I think it's a total of 124 players are allowed, we can fill.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any notable people? Is that one of those tournaments? Celebrities show
no.
up? Okay.
I was floored. I'm not a golfer.
I was going to ask.
No,
Okay.
I don't know much about the game, and I was like, wow, these guys can drink a lot and still stand. So it's a really fun time for everyone. I mean, everyone just had a blast.
Yeah, very good.
So so everyone, so please support. If you did want to, donate, or we're finalizing all the corporate sponsors now, but or if not, next year. I want to actually get everybody on board again early next year, so we're organized. So I'll have that ready. So if you're interested, please reach out. It's laura@barkbahamas.org.
What was your big fundraiser before the tournament?
Well, we've never had one as big as this. So we've done parties, and we have the Potcake Man Triathlon, which we are going to be doing March 5th. Okay. So we're going to be ramping up for that, soon as well.
You've had one since COVID.
We did. It was sort of the makeup, the sort of the 2021 that we ran earlier this year. Mm-hmm. But and this year our Potcake Man is the 10th year that we've been doing it. The first one was 2013, so 2023, we're 10 years in, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So What does the money go to from the tournament?
Yeah, just running everything.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, we have to buy a lot of all the medical supplies. It's pretty, all maintaining the vehicles.
Can you say what your costs are?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're about $100 a surgery.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and then that we got, we've got, but we need, basically with the working here, we were. All the local vets are so supportive, and they were so supportive of this mobile clinic coming on because we basically were maxing out, because they are trying to fit in these. They do spays and neuters for, at a charity price,
right?
And they're trying to do their regular patients and then fit in our spay and neuters for us. So they were basically maxed out, and so we needed to up the ante and get more surgeries done so we can, and the goal is that we can really see in 5 years. That's we have a 5-year plan, and we really hope that in 5 years we can see a country that is, takes care of its animals, and we don't have, all the dogs on the road and, suffering. So,
right.
Yeah. And it goes a lot to people as well. It's the compassion, when people learn compassion towards animals, there's the high correlation that they're more compassionate to other humans, which is important.
Oh, I only hope we get there. It's amazing, and I didn't think about it before you said it, but you guys did 4,100, but then the private clinics doing however many they do.
The private ones, yeah. But remember, they're all owned.
Right.
So
that's true.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know, of course, what the numbers that they do privately, but yeah, I mean, these are more the animals that are.
Does the Humane Society do it?
So not, I mean, they do, but I know right now they're down to one vet.
Right,
so she's busy taking care of all the animals there.
Yeah.
So actually our vet goes in, we do work 5 days a week, but our vet actually goes to the Humane Society and does about, 20 surgeries on a Wednesday, just to help with the shelter animals. Okay. So we work really closely with the Bahamas Humane Society, and we're all, of course, all of us crazy animal people are together.
Bark is a full-time operation.
It is. Yeah. It is. It's amazing how much we've grown since 2009, and it's very positive, and we really hope to, make the change that's needed in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us again about the fundraiser, the golf tournament that's coming up.
Yep. So Sunday, December 11th. So lots of ways to help. If you're, you want to just privately donate to Bark, we're really happy. If you need to get your pet spayed and neutered, go check out our website or call 427-7729. If you want to play in the golf tournament, there's, like I said, we have about 15 spaces for 15 teams left. So sign up online, and corporate sponsor, we can still get you in. So reach out to us as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and telling us about all the wonderful work you do.
Thank you.
And, we're going to take a break. That's Laura Kimball, chairman of Bark, and we'll be right back.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Fidelity, we're good for you.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Thinking of adding a little color to your house? Well, what are you waiting for? There's no better time to give your house a facelift than during the Colors Free promotion at CBS Bahamas. When you purchase Pratt & Lambert paint from CBS, color is absolutely free. You heard it right. You don't get charged for mixing colors. Now you can paint the outside, the inside, and all the accent walls a different color and save big all at the same time. Who knows? You can use that extra cash to watch a movie, get some food, or even grab a coffee. Visit CBS Bahamas today in the Southwest Plaza, where color is free.
Happy holidays! Nassau Tile is having its Christmas sale. That's right, from November 21st to November 26th, you can save up to 25% off selected ceramic tiles or up to 60% off selected items. And take 20% off store-wide on all tiles, thin set, grout, and mosaics. Our tile experts are ready to guide you in selecting the right tiles for your kitchen backsplash, living room, bathroom, walkway, and patio. So don't miss your chance to spruce up this holiday season. Call 322-2100 or visit our showroom at Nassau Tile, where the world is at your feet.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now. 3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road, and Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it? Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Remember, it feels good to do good. This Christmas, let's spread some good together. Share your story of an act of kindness and register, and a registered charity of your choice could be selected to receive a donation from RBC. Be inspired. #RBC Give and Get. Welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robards along with Don Sargent, and we're continuing our conversation just about what the Prime Minister was talking about with the media yesterday, saying that the Bahamas is being unfairly characterized in the wake of FTX's collapse. And, you know, the opposition has been asking him questions and asking the government questions about their exposure to FTX. And, of course, some of the answers are not definitive, a little vague. So we're trying to figure out why the message seems to be the way it is. So let's read some text messages, because there's a lot we didn't get to as yet. This one says, PM Davis, unaware of BAMSI's lack of insurance. Okay, they're going way back. Unaware of BPL's recommended hedging strategy after a spike in fuel prices. Perhaps he's unaware because he's everywhere but the Bahamas. Suck my teeth. That's a text message. This person says, Clint seems to know everything when he was on between the headlines, but now he lost and knows nothing. Okay. The president says it happened with this administration last time they administered the country with Bahama. This person says, I'm beginning to believe both Mr. Davis and Mr. Sears on who has the power of the premiership of this country. Who has the power of the premiership of this country been handed to? This is a very dangerous situation. That person can reject cabinet papers without informing the PM or the relevant minister, is making other wide-ranging decisions using very little to faulty analysis with destructive consequences, and is accountable to nobody, not the public, and not even cabinet. Yes, very true. This person says a lot of times we appoint people to positions because they look the part, but in reality they don't fit the requirements. When this FTX hit the fan, a press secretary would sit with the team to find out every detail about the issue so they could answer anyone sensibly. The problem is this administration's position from the start has been say nothing. Now the SC, the police, I guess the SCB, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, the police, the press secretary, all seem clueless and way out of their depth, but well-dressed. Okay?
I think that is a extraordinarily apt description of what I've been witnessing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Woo. I don't know what to make of it, Chester. I don't know what to make of it.
But that's the point we were making before when we were talking, right? It's just all about preparing the message or just being informed about what is going on. And so the government will say not much to its own inner circle of communicators.
We've seen this also
of
with the case of I think Sakis Ismailian and the Bahama debacle, right? Debacle, sorry. Is every other day a different minister of parliament of the governing party would make contradictory statements to the last one. One person would say this person need to get the hand checked, get them deported, or threatened it, or suggested it. And the next time someone speaks, it's like everything's okay, nothing's going wrong. And the next time someone speaks, it's like this is the issue of sovereignty. It's like, again, this isn't our first rodeo with a government that seems to completely collapse when it comes to getting their messaging correct. Because it's like, for lack of a better term, it's like amateur hour. Like, do you guys not have a WhatsApp conversation where you talk to each other about it? Like, if you can't be sure when you're the government when talking to the public, who is the public supposed to believe and be sure of? Right? Who do we trust?
Maybe they have a Slack group.
Yeah, perhaps they might have a Slack group. I doubt it, though. Yeah. They probably have a WhatsApp chat, and then, like, one person just sends a bunch of memes and pictures and videos of things happening in the country. Then, like, another person sends them, like, good morning messages, and then that's pretty much just it. Everybody else just reads it and then randomly messages 3 weeks later. I don't know, but it's like, how does this keep happening so frequently? Is it the briefings? Does the prime minister not get briefings every time something happens? Is cabinet not like communicating effectively? Like, you can't just be. This is like slip and fall school. Like, everybody just slipping and falling, and their foot goes in their mouths. And then when you ask them, "Hey, is that your foot in your mouth?" As they're chewing on their toes, what foot you talking about? You know, foot. It's like, come on, man. This ain't rocket science, you know?
Yeah. Let's read some more of these text messages. Without whistleblower legislation, if you provide reporters with information and are found out, you're going to jail. No one risking jail time for no country. No, your reporter.
Or lose your job. At minimum, you'll lose your job.
Your reporter is supposed to go to jail for you, not you. Your reporter doesn't ever expose who their source is. That's, I don't know if all reporters in the country have gone to journalism school, but that's rule one, right? And then
that is true.
And then when
that's happened before in this country. I think we'll come out a case of that.
Correct. And when you join a news agency, that should be the first thing they tell you. Look, if you have a confidential source, and we end up in court about it, you are not exposing that person. It's just not going to happen. And you're going to go sit in jail. It's like doctors, right? Do no harm. Like, they have the Hippocratic Oath. Journalists have an oath to not reveal their sources. That's just the way it is.
This is a fact.
I should say that's just the way it should be, because I don't know, some people might buckle. Who knows? This person says, why are people being so mean this morning on certain things? When are you guys going?
I can explain that. We're being very critical of the situation because we've seen how this essentially, by brick, every single time, like you slowly watch it erode the trust of the last administration, the Minnis administration. We watched this essentially burn like the dump fire under the Christie administration. The same thing happened under the Ingham administration and the Christie administration before that.
Yeah.
This is the exact same cycle where you do not answer questions, you avoid questions, you dodge, you obfuscate ambiguous answers, and then it just snowballs into more and more things. And by the time you come to the end of your term, you're so flushed and fluttered with the just amount of scandals that you've had that no one trusts anything that you have to say. And that Bahamians get absolutely infuriated and enraged, and they vote you out in a mad fury.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know how many times you have to play stupid games and win stupid prizes, but like, we don't have to do this. You can just if, again, like I said, if you don't know the answer to a question and you're accessed by the press, you can just say you don't know yet. You're going to investigate this and come back to it and then address it right afterwards, rather than making a statement. And I'm saying this for a reason, because statements have been made, right, within this first year of, well, not even the first year, I guess, whatever, within this administration, where the answer was yes, and then it turns out it was no, or the answer was no, and it turns out it was yes, or the answer was maybe, and then it's far more complicated than that. It's, if you don't have the full breadth of the information being asked, do not give an answer that is untrue. Because then that just further erodes public trust in anything that you have to say. It confuses people, right? Or and also too, if you're coming out of a cabinet meeting, whatever the situation is, I shouldn't hear one thing from a minister responsible for a certain sector or certain country saying that he doesn't have no idea what this guy's talking about.
Right.
Then that makes me feel like, well, okay, one of you's lying then, or one of you is absolutely misinformed about the situation, or word didn't get somewhere. And that points to several issues. Is this that someone isn't communicating, someone isn't doing their job? Is the Prime Minister not being briefed and about these situations happening? Is the Minister of Finance, the Minister of State for Finance, is he aware but the Prime Minister isn't? Like, what is the situation? What is going on? Why is there a consistent breakdown in communication between these different government entities, or these same people that work within the same entities? Tell the public different things when they talk to the press.
Right.
And that is concerning.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. This person says, good morning. The Minister of Work or Ministry of Works, JFK property have a lot of strays. Oh, huh? The Ministry of Works property on JFK has a lot of strays with no owner. Can Bark help? I don't think Bark collects the dogs. They just spay and neuter them.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that too. You know, sometimes when I drive past to see like random dogs.
I never noticed that. That's interesting. This person says, good morning. This FTX matter is before the courts. What else y'all want to hear? I'll give something else headline. We're not really talking about FTX at the moment. I think we're talking about something very critical that's causing some of this problems with the FTX and international exposure stuff. But yeah.
Is that the answer we give for everything? When Bahama is still in court, right?
But before the courts means something different in this case.
I mean, it means something different in every case.
In every case, yeah.
Because the issue what people were critical of, and the international press even descended upon the Bahamas to cover the story, but the situation with Bahama was like, what happened to cause this in the first place? And all the outlying like knock-on effects of that, like anemic economic growth. The Bahamas' growth projections had declined after that. We got downgraded after that. Like tons of things around these things happen. Just because something's in court does not mean that ends the discussion of it. There's a ton of things surrounding it, right, that matter, that are not issues that are going to be dealt with in court.
Right.
And I think something that is important, as a question that's been asked, is like, well, how close was the government or the party or individuals within our government administration, whether they be in opposition or not, close to the situation with FTX, because that matters.
Right. Yeah, we got to stop people from talking this before the court stuff. It just you don't sound like you know what you're talking about when that's the only thing you say. Oh,
why are we always so afraid to talk about issues in this country? It's something I've always been perplexed by. It's like
I don't think we're afraid. I think some people don't want to talk about it.
Well, it needs to be, right? That's how you move countries forward.
You
got to discuss issues. Because, again, the Bahamas is still in this push towards bringing more cryptocurrency exchanges to this country. Like, we're still doing a big push in crypto.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't stopped because of the situation with FTX. And lots of questions, rightfully so, are being asked about this jurisdiction and its ability to regulate this industry.
Exactly.
And whether or not it is, I don't know. I'm not qualified to answer that question. But I think it's a relevant conversation to have. Are there conflicts of interest? Has this happened before? Can this be something that if someone else were to bring their cryptocurrency exchange or even start up one, is this something they also can expect to have to go through? All of this matters.
And it's super relevant at the moment. And again, you know, there are so many international journalists in town. Your government.
They're probably listening to the show right now.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you know, your government can't be, you know, saying things like it's before the courts, because there are things that you can answer that have nothing to do, like you said, Don, with what's before the courts. This is not a criminal trial, right? This person says, good morning. When is the question going to be asked if the company doing the work on Village Road is able to do the work? That's a good question. I don't know what's going on there, because they redug up the street again for some reason, and that was a terrible grammar faux pas.
This person said Village Road?
Village Road, yeah.
I feel like Village Road is like, I can't even explain when, I think it was under the Ingham administration, all the roads just dig up, and it just seems like perpetual state of dig upness. It's like they dig up the road, seal up the pave, not really pave it, but smooth it over as if they're gearing up to pave. And then all of a sudden they get back up again. And I'm like, so something broke? Like, I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
Very confusing.
Yeah.
But wasn't it supposed to be done this month?
I was just trying to think back to an interview they did, and I'm pretty sure. This person, there's a caller. Let's try to take this call before we switch over. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Hey, good morning, Chester. Good morning, Dawn.
Good morning.
Just very quickly here. Let me just touch the issue of Village Road for a quick second here.
Okay.
Village Road is only a microcosm of infrastructural work that should have been done for quite some time. Especially, that's only one major artery, but many major arteries require that because of the piping and stuff that's been underground for well over some 40, 50 years. You're going to find that major infrastructural work will have to be taking place to correct some of the deficiencies we have, not just in our water lines, but our sewage lines that run under the road. Mackey Street is another one. Market Street is another one. East Street in particular is a major one.
East Street.
Okay, and
that's going to be a disaster when they dig up East Street, boy.
Okay, but you see, as simple as Mackey Street is, I've lived in the Bar 20 Corner area most of my young life, up until about the age of 19. And I can tell you, I've never seen major infrastructural work take place on Mackey Street, but look at the condition of the roads today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the sad part about this is the work is going on. I am very much keen to see what the new Village Road is going to look like after it is newly paved. Mackey Street has not been paved for you know, I call the major roads. Robinson Road has not been paved.
Mm-hmm.
But these infrastructure work has to take place because we are now trying to move our infrastructure to a standard now where it could take on the increase of the population as well as the demands placed on a lot of our systems. So that has to happen. Let me just also touch very quickly here on the commentary of one Mr. Fred Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of ironic or egregious the statements that he makes, and I understand his thought processes and stuff, but you cannot go about and compare, what happened with Enron and stuff in the States compared to what's happening here in the Bahamas. The Bahamian people are more interested in what's happening here in the Bahamas. They're not interested too much into Enron and the collapse of their systems over there. We have to keep these things in context.
Yeah.
And my final point here is this. As far as you saying that the Prime Minister, who is supposed to be the Minister of Finance, just offer, well, he don't know. They're not accepting those answers like that anymore because, the people who works for you, they should be reporting to you on a consistent basis on what's going on in the ministry.
Yeah.
That is why when the microphone is pushed in your face, you're able to answer succinctly or no comment at this time, I'll get back to you at a later time. I'm pretty sure many persons would accept that answer other than, I don't know, I am not aware of it.
Yeah.
We have been hearing these things from politicians for far too long, and it's not resonating with the Bahamian people like that who want to hear the relevant answers to the questions that they impose. We have to do we have to do a better job at communicating with our people and not just giving them an answer, but giving truthful, honest answers. That's all the people are asking for. So, commentary for this morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking my call, and God bless the Bahamas.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments. And yeah, you're absolutely.
I want to say one thing to that before you got to cut.
Yeah.
That is that I agree with him in his statement about the answers and it's not acceptable. I don't know if it ever was truly accepted by the people, but it surely isn't now. But also remember this, the same way I hire a doctor to give me a physical or something, I have an ailment or I need an operation, I'd go to a surgeon. I don't expect the surgeon to look at me when I ask what's wrong and say, but I know dread. I never see nothing like this before. Nobody tell me. I don't hear that. You've been voted in as the senior boss man, chief in charge. And you put yourself also as man, chief in charge of the Ministry of Finance. The buck stops with you, whether or not you're frequently briefed or not. You hold the title of senior boss man, chief in charge. So when people ask questions, they expect, again, the senior boss man, chief in charge to know.
Yeah.
Is that an unfair expectation?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think they know this. I think they.
And it's if I fly in on an airline and the pilots say, the flight's supposed to be 30 minutes, we've been flying for 50 minutes, and then people start asking when we land, and then the pilots say, I know dread. I scared.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You mean you don't know?
You're absolutely right.
That's literally all you do. So, just I want to say we need to do better, but it's be accountable, man. It ain't hard. It isn't impossible. Just stop being terrible at this communication game. Because again, this is the thing that kills administrations, and it doesn't need to happen again.
And
it's easily and it's avoidable.
And stop getting mad at us for pointing it out. Just fix it, please.
Fix it, Jesus.
Don, that's our show for this morning. I appreciate you being with me this morning. You have to go, right?
Man, anytime. You
can't stick around for business.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you gotta go. Understandable. We are going to be starting Morning Blend Business right after this.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. We are going to continue our discussion that we were having earlier, and I'm going to read some more of your text messages. But I want to read a statement that came out from you might have heard some of it on the news just now, came out from the Securities Commission of the Bahamas yesterday. Late last night, I should say. Let me just pull it up here. Yep. So it says on the 21st of November 2022, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas obtained an order from the Supreme Court of the Bahamas to secure a right of indemnity and right to be reimbursed for expenses reasonably incurred by the Commission in connection with the regulatory action taken to safeguard the digital assets of FTX Digital Markets Limited, which is FDM, shortened as FDM. As previously reported on the 12th of November 2022, under the authority of an order by the Supreme Court of the Bahamas, the Commission determined urgent action to safeguard the digital assets of FDM for the benefit of its customers and creditors was needed, and directed the transfer of certain digital assets to a digital wallet controlled by the Commission. The order secured today confirms the Commission is entitled to be indemnified under the law, and FDM shall ultimately bear the costs the Commission incurs in safeguarding those assets for the benefit of FDM's customers and creditors, in a manner similar to other normal costs of administering FDM's assets for the benefit of its customers and creditors. No payment, however, may be made to the Commission without prior approval of the Supreme Court. The Commission will continue to evaluate the situation and, in cooperation with the Court, supervise joint provisional liquidators of FDM and with other supervisory authorities globally, take such actions as needed to preserve the assets of customers and creditors of FDM. The Commission is continuing to investigate the facts and circumstances regarding FTX's liquidity crisis and its impact on the operations of FDM, a registered entity. The Commission will hold accountable any companies or individuals found responsible for the violation of any laws administered by the Commission. And that's the end of their statement. So basically, they're saying that they are going to get paid for holding this wallet full of FTX assets in a manner that's similar to how FTX would have gotten paid for being a wallet provider or holder, or however that works, right? Which is interesting because there's this story in the business section, the Nassau Guardian, where Moody's had an opinion on FTX, saying that better accounting and disclosure rules are needed. And one of the things they keep saying in this case is that the FTX case draws attention to the concept of fair value for crypto assets. And that is exactly fair value. When you hear it, is exactly what you think it is. What is the value of crypto assets, right? And this whole case about FTX and its FTT token, an assigned value. Who determines, what the value of that of a cryptocurrency is? Chester made Chester Coin tomorrow and started selling it and trading it for $25. Well, who told Chester that that's, the starting value of Chester Coin? Me. I told me that. And if you buy it, and 10 of your friends buy it, and the price goes up to 30, well, now somehow it has some kind of value. But why did it start at 25? Who knows? Just because I said so. That's a kind of a weak way of explaining it, but it is what it is. That's the way cryptocurrencies work, right? And coins that have popped up. Like yesterday, my colleague talked about a coin sounding fishy, right? So I went on Google and I Googled fishy token, right? Just because I figured that somebody in the world had made a cryptocurrency token called Fishy. And there is a token out there, I think it's called Fishy Tank Token for some reason, and it's trading at 0.0 something. It's absolutely worthless, just like the name of it. So I don't know. Let me read some of this story. The crypto asset sector is in need of improved accounting standards and strong disclosure rules. Credit ratings agency Moody's wrote in its latest credit outlook report, speaking on the collapse of cryptocurrency exchange FTX. They said, quote, on 18th of November, FTX updated its bankruptcy filing. The initial update have elevated concerns about crypto assets, especially those whose value is largely supported by related party valuations. It says, we believe the key to limiting investors' risk of future FTX-like defaults is to require a consistent and appropriate basis of measurement and strong supplemental disclosures. This should help investors to understand the value, performance, and risk profile of crypto assets in companies' audited financial statements. And again, you got to have audited financial statements for that to be true, right? And of course, whether or not FTX had proper audited financial statements is still in question. Let me read some of your text messages. This one says, if they think telling anyone this FTX story is before the courts will stop any discussion on FTX, you're living on the moon with Minus. Do you not hear that the international press has put such significance on this that they are in briefings with the press secretary and making all of the I don't know, I don't recall, not to my knowledge responses look exceedingly stupid? How could we have been conducting any oversight and know absolutely nothing? Good question. This person says, good morning. I am an avid listener of Morning Blend. What happened to your co-host and you? Why are all of these sweeping unconfirmed statements coming from you guys? What was unconfirmed? Only interested in discussing relevant matters when our political party is in opposition. However, when in power, mum's the word. And this person saying Mackey Street is a poor area, so they ain't paving it. That's not true. Mackey Street is a business area. They need to pave it. Let's see what this caller is saying. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend Business. You got it. The phone's got to get fixed. It's very, very staticky. So Moody's is saying what a lot of people have begun to say about cryptocurrency firms, right? And what we're beginning to find out as more and more court documents come out is that the company wasn't in a state that it should have been in terms of its corporate governance. And so, in a nutshell, what Moody's is saying is how can we trust, right? Trust what the fair value, or you say the fair value of your token is, when all of this stuff has been going on, when you haven't been properly audited, when you're the one saying this is what the reality of your coin is, and then and the value of it, and then just like moving it and selling it, and it not end up being backed by actual fiat currency, that when people come to you to take their money back out, you don't have it, right? So that is saying. Read some more about what they're saying. They say that the U.S. Financial Accounting Standards Board has already progressed this year in improving accounting for crypto assets by adding a project to its technical agenda to explore accounting for and disclosure of certain crypto assets, such as digital currencies. The report said companies should use fair value accounting methods when measuring Bitcoin and assets in the crypto space. They say, quote, "We welcome this project because U.S. GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles, currently has no prescribed accounting that accurately reflects issuers' use of crypto assets and related risks. Investors have been relying on voluntary disclosures to understand any delta between the book value and the fair market value of any digital currency holding. The FASB has not yet given a view on the income statement treatment. We have considered the effect on reporting under both fair value through P&L, profit and loss, and fair value through other comprehensive income approaches." Both approaches have pros and cons for investors. They continue, the FTX case draws attention to the concept of fair value for crypto assets like FTT, which could lead investors to misplace confidence in a value supported by a related party exchange that is highly relative third-party transactions. The report said the risk associated with assigning fair value can be mitigated through disclosures that address information about the source of fair value amounts and how factors add to the risk or volatility of the fair value information. So all that is going to be important moving forward with this FTX story. We'll discuss some more about it. Let's take this call that's coming in. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Yes, good morning, Chester. C. Alan Johnson, critical thinker.
Good morning.
Just let me first give you some clarification on the expenses. The expenses isn't the current value. The expenses is for the price of the infrastructure for which they keeping the stuff in, generally referred to as a cold wallet.
Mm-hmm.
A cold wallet is basically just an infrastructure computer, or let's say a wallet that's not connected to the internet.
Right.
So essentially, that has to be a server somewhere. These are not physical cash. So the company they use is going to charge them to run this server. They transferred it from another server. I would assume that I would not have left it on the same server
right.
that was hacked or had access to. So whatever the data center, that's the cost they're asking to be recovered.
Mm-hmm.
The what is called fair market value is what people is willing to pay. And this essentially is what got Sam Bankman-Fried into this problem, because this FTT token was an inflated value through some gymnastics of his company and the use of it as a utility. So if I create a token and I say I want to sell it starting at $100 each, and people are willing to pay $100, it is what it is.
Right.
But the problem with that is that I don't have any real-world assets backing it.
Right.
So this is what has happened, and this is what happened with FTT token that FTX issued. There was a value assigned to it. Let's say I think about $700 or whatever it was, but its value came from what FTX said whatever matrix they use,
Right.
and for people to pay. So when they start using it as collateral for, you give me your cash, and I almost give you this as a collateral for the cash you have while I buy other tokens and other different things. This is where the greater fool theory comes in,
Mm-hmm.
because no cryptocurrency has any real-world assets. In fact, there's only one cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin. The rest of them are altcoins, and they don't even meet the DeFi standard that Bitcoin meets. They can controlled by individuals, groups, whatever it is. So they, like you say, you could speak to professionals in the industry who even run exchanges, whether it be CZ or even SBF. They'll tell you that 99.98% of the 12,000 tokens are all scam, meaning less than 100 of them, or 12,000 of them, I think, 50 to 100 of them has some credibility. That none of them are real. But here's the problem that we had and any jurisdiction will have in backing tokens. If I create a magic money type environment, I create a magic money, call it Chester ruble, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no real money involved, and there's nothing to back it.
Right.
So then how do I then put what you call asset to back it? Like you say you want to keep your book and keep, what's it, the balance sheet, to make sure you have enough for withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you give me $100 for it, I have to keep the $100 in the drawer, because then I wouldn't even be able to cover my expenses, because if you come back for your $100, since it produces nothing in reality, right, then what do I use to back it?
Right.
Absolutely nothing. This is the greater fool theory. It is basically what other people are willing to pay. The fool after you.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, the fiat currency is backed by the faith of the government who issues the fiat, that whatever it is they will do to provide or produce. It used to be by gold, silver, now petrodollar, all these different things.
Right.
And so this is the problem that we will have in saying that we want to keep a reserve for these coins, because there is no reserve, because whatever you pay is what it is. Now, the problem we had in our accounting is in our governance is that we have no rules in regards to this. We had no way to checkmate this. We had no way to maintain that the data, which is across multiple servers, this could probably be dozens, if not hundreds of servers around, for us to know where the data is, how it's been changed, how it's been manipulated. We didn't have any means of checking what they were doing in the back office for back doors, or reading other people's data to play against it. Because again, this is essentially a casino, and there's no rules in this casino to say that the house isn't reading the data and playing against me. In fact, the chief technology officer for FTX was accused of doing something very similar when he had a casino, a poker thing, or no, a card thing.
Right.
Because he just basically read the data and bet against the people because he knew what they were holding in their hands.
Right.
And this is the same thing that you will see Alamanda and others. You will see that they were reading data from FTX and other places and betting against the people whenever he needs some cash. Just pump and dump and do whatever else and bet against the people, the very people whose money you are monitoring. So the question is, does the Bahamas have the resources for this?
Yeah.
The only way to do this is to have data legislation. And secondly, you'd have to have the servers all present in the Bahamas, or have some jurisdictional control into other jurisdictions for where these servers are. And so the question is, what team are you going to put in every single CEX or cryptocurrency exchange that comes to the Bahamas to sit and monitor the data on a daily basis, monitor movement of wallets? There's analytical tools to see to doing these type of environments. And so if this is not as simple as simply putting in legislation and saying, let it be so. This is not some Star Trek. Let it be so.
So let me ask you a question. Just based on what you said about servers, should a company like FTX have to house their servers here and allow like the SCB access to them whenever they want, or is it okay to have their servers all over the place, but still allow access?
Jurisdiction
Yeah.
for which the commission can reach into and execute an order,
Right.
whether it be an agreement or cross-border type of thing. This
Right.
is where the data agreement comes in.
Right.
Because you can't call the United States or even, say, Cayman or some other place, Costa Rica or some other place, and say, I need that server to be disconnected from the Internet right now,
Right.
or call that particular data center. So wherever the company that is domiciled in the Bahamas has a server, the commission has to have the authority to examine the code and other different things that is involved with running the server. And it has to have penalties, also criminal penalties, for certain acts and that can happen in the digital sphere. See, the problem that we have is that in spite of FTX Digital Markets being in the Bahamas, they are a subsidiary of the global FTX.
Right.
So FTX Digital Markets operated in and from the Bahamas, but FTX Global operated from the Bahamas, but not in the Bahamas.
Right.
And that's where our problem is.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the arguments that we're now making, the legal arguments that we're making in the U.S., because you can't think of this from an analog perspective.
Yeah.
These are digital companies around the world now. This is exactly what it is. Even at the United States, I see many of the congressmen and senators have this whole argument from an analog perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a purely digital realm in digitization. And so we need we need legislation for digitization or digitalization, which is the actual use of technology. And then you need information for data, which is the action. And so, and we need about 13 compendium of legislation to even begin to dip our toe in the water of the new digital reality for where the world is right now. And this is just for FTX,
Yeah.
This is for companies that actually just operate in the Bahamas, period, from a digital perspective.
Yeah.
And so I think we with all due respect, we were in over our head, and right on the same Guardian radio in 2020. And again, when the Progressive Liberal Party modified it, they came into office, I said, this was the equivalent of removing a fence and putting up a locked gate and declaring yourself safer.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptocurrency is the great fool theory, but it's an open door to money laundering, drug dealing, terrorist financing, all the things that we've been blacklisted for, we have now took down the fence and locked the gate. And I think that these, and because, just an example, I don't want to run on, right, but just an example, I just did a deal in Miami, and if I bring my $2 million back in the plane, they might intercept it, or through the airport in the trunk, they might intercept it. Well, I just have to find a means to acquire some digital currencies in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not even transfer it to another wallet, change it to another crypto, change it back to another crypto, come all the way into the Bahamas. And by the time I'll be on FTX, the Bahamas government will look at it and assume all these checks, KYC, all these things have been done, which is practically impossible. Maybe do whatever, and then I can withdraw it and deposit directly into account. So identifying who these wallets are, because I can go and do a KYC on this wallet and have multiple wallets that I could put in, put out. It's just huge. This is huge, and you even go and listen to the BIS, the Bank of International Settlement. This is much bigger than what the Bahamas has demonstrated. I'm not saying we're not capable of doing it. I'm saying for the 2 decades I've been here observing what we have done with technology, for us to demonstrate that we have that capability. Remind you, we can buy expertise and then begin to train and develop behemoths to move into this new industry, because cryptocurrencies may be garbage, but blockchain and associated technologies, that banking and decentralized finance and even centralized finance and property tech and all these other different things will be a multi-trillion-dollar industry, exclusive cryptocurrency. So we can begin to take a look at this and look at developing the human capital to actually be the place. Let me end in saying this. The Bahamas is the only place. 3 things is needed. The world is crying for this. Data privacy, data protection, and data sovereignty. The Bahamas is the only place in the world, if the Constitution is read with a digital mind, that can provide constitutional data privacy, constitutional data protection, and constitutional data sovereignty. And the way the Constitution is, it's superior to law, which can be changed on a whim. And so if you have a constitutional protection, then you know the government can't just randomly change the law to give people access to your data. That gives us an advantage of the 200 countries in the world that no one else can do it. Thinking for people who want protection in the cryptocurrency industry, if we pass those laws, they can have digital citizenship like Estonia, and then we can impose rules for any of their wallets or data that's kept on them to be docile in the Bahamas or jurisdictions for which we have control.
Yeah.
And it brings literally billions of people to the shores of the Bahamas. I'm saying this is a lesson learned.
Yeah.
And we have such a great opportunity to redefine not just the Bahamas from a technological standpoint, but actually influence the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Always appreciate it, Alan. Let's break for our morning business report, brought to you by CFAL.
If you were exposed to or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
The secret is out. Thursdays have gone TCL at Alive. Thursday, November 17th and November 24th, you can save big on select TCL devices. Shop early for the holidays and get the best deals on devices starting as low as $19. Alive has doorbuster savings and more. So stop, drop, and run to your nearest Alive location closest to you. We are Alive. Terms and conditions apply.
Helping out each other, family and everybody. It's a simple act of kindness with you, me, and RBC. This Christmas.
Christmas. Let's spread some good together with RBC. Share your acts of kindness stories on RBC's Caribbean Facebook and Instagram pages, and a registered charity of your choice could be selected to receive a donation from RBC, because it feels good to do good.
Showing acts of kindness, RBC.
Know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356 Sassaw or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com. or visit any of our branches.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And it's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. While Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis insists that the Bahamas' reputation will survive the FTX fallout, partner in law firm Berliner, Corcoran and Rowe LLP, Bruce Zagaris, told the Wall Street Journal in a recent interview that the cryptocurrency exchange's bankruptcy has jeopardized this country's move to become a leading digital assets hub. Zagaris, who the Wall Street Journal said has worked on Caribbean financial services matters as well as white-collar crimes, also contended that FTX chose to open its cryptocurrency exchange in the Bahamas because it expected that the regulatory regime would not be harsh. He said, quote, before a company, especially if it's going to be a digital exchange, puts its headquarters in a country, they establish it once they have certainty about how that country is classifying all these different products. He said the Bahamas' regulatory regime is not as harsh, so most likely FTX was hoping or maybe even expecting that the Bahamas would not harshly implement its DARE Act. He said, he continues, it's very helpful if you're a company like FTX and you want to attract U.S. business and you want to do business in the U.S., but yet you don't want to be subject to all the regulation and the tax regime. The fact that the Bahamas attracted the number 3 digital exchange and it quickly went from success to bankruptcy has jeopardized the new product and the new innovation that the Bahamas has undertaken, unfortunately. And thousands used sand dollars during Jollification event. About 5,000 Jollification attendees used the central bank digital currency sand dollar to pay for their entrance into the festival, Suncash representative Laurie Russell told Guardian Business yesterday, adding that while some vendors have become comfortable with sand dollar use, some are still reluctant. Russell said more than 80 of the 100 or so vendors at the Christmas Jollification Arts and Crafts Festival, which took place over the weekend at the Retreat Garden on Village Road, used sand dollars to transact with their customers over the festival's 3 days. Overseas, the OECD forecast says high rates inflation to slow world growth, hobbled by high interest rates punishing inflation and Russia's war against Ukraine. The world economy is expected to eke out only modest growth this year and to expand even more tepidly in 2023. That was the sobering forecast issued Tuesday by the Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. In the OECD's estimation, the world economy will grow just 3.1% this year, down sharply from a robust 5.9% in 2021. Next year, the OECD predicts would be even worse. The international economy would expand only 2.2%. OECD Secretary General Matthias Cormann said at a news conference, quote, "It is true we are not predicting a global recession, but this is a very, very challenging outlook, and I don't think that anyone will take great comfort from the projection of 2.2% global growth." And that's your morning while growing wealth for future generations. And welcome back to Morning Blend Business. We are continuing to talk about kind of what the atmosphere of the digital asset space is going to look like as we come out of this FTX thing. And people are saying, as I read in the morning business report, you know, the prime minister is hoping that the country will come out of this with a better reputation than before, but people are saying not really. It's a bad look, and you know, it's going to take a little while longer to rebuild confidence. But we do have some big cryptocurrency exchanges, or a big cryptocurrency exchange still here. They have not lost confidence in the country. That's OKX. And, you know, the question is, what do they need from us? You know, they have regulation now under the DARE Act. So what else are they doing? Like, what are they doing? And I can guarantee you they're not the cover crypto exchange that FTX was. But they're doing big business. And I think that's what most crypto exchanges are about. You know, they weren't on the level of FTX when it came to the pomp and pageantry and poshness. But you know, as I read earlier, you know, the while this kind of sector doesn't want or never was built to necessarily want regulation and be regulated in the sense that we know regular banks are, offshore banks are, commercial banks are, that it's either going to go that way or, you know, it could, you know, falter later on. But we'll see. We have a call coming in there. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Yes. Hey, Chester, I have two questions for you because you're in the business section of the newspaper.
Yes.
You need to tell us the actual assets they're holding and the number of wallets,
Mm-hmm.
and the Like, but I mean the actual, like the name of the tokens, how many of them, etc. of every single token.
Right.
And then secondly, they need to tell us whether or not they have actual control of the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure for FTX.
Okay.
Those are very two important things. So when you say that you seize the asset,
Right.
that means that you should have access to all of the servers.
And when
you say you cold storage the asset, it's incumbent upon you to reveal to us how many Bitcoins, how much FTT, how many Solana, how many whatever it is that you're holding
right.
in it, so that we can know relative to what they had as to what is it you have.
Right.
Okay.
When you're talking about you mentioned their FTX's systems. You're talking about whatever their
whatever they run the business.
Right.
This business didn't have the technology. Didn't necessarily was customized in the Bahamas.
Right.
So if you say if you could take my office and I could walk outside and use my cell phone and still run my business. So if you seize the asset and you're being asked and you're asking for the court to provide you the right to continue to pay for these services, because remember now, if you're renting a server from me, if they didn't own their own data center and you're renting a service from me, then you have to continuously pay to have.
Right.
And if they do have their own data center, then we should also have control of that
yeah.
data center.
Yeah.
And so these are questions that the exchange should answer in their allegations or claims that they have seized the assets, not the physical assets, because those are things that they are.
Right.
But more importantly, the billions of dollars that FTX supposedly have is not necessarily fiat and real estate.
Right.
They're actually digital assets. And so we need to know, did you get 2 coins, right? 2 Bitcoins, or did you get a few thousand? Did you get a few Ethereum coins, or did you get a few thousand? Because based on what FTX held, it could very much mean that the Bahamas may be one of the largest holders of Ethereum. And so, and yes, with these assets is important, because even though you may have them in cold storage, you may actually move them to a more secure environment and stake those Ethereum so that you could generate revenue to increase what you have to pay back to the other people, because you're not risking them by staking them as of trading them. Because people you process across the server, and you get paid for it being across your for things that are processed across your stake.
Yeah.
And so it's just like you say, this. If someone, this is not for the topical traders. If someone doesn't understand the functioning architecture of cryptocurrencies or digital assets, you may not necessarily know what it is you're seeking control of.
Yeah. You think they're in control of FTX's? I guess they would have built their own software, right, to run.
But
their
you could put the
exchange.
software. I have my own. I have various different software I use. So my software sits on Amazon
Right.
and Dell servers. So I just quality basis whatever
Right.
to have access to their what is it they provide. So, but if I had my own server, I still have to pay the host
Yeah.
data center for having my computer in there.
Yeah.
And so where I rent space on their server, because you could buy a fractional of a server, or I actually send my own physical computer to their data center. And so this is why my question is, what is the infrastructure that you see? Did FTX have its own server sitting in another data center? Did they have their own data center somewhere? Are they leasing shared space in a server?
Yeah.
Multiple servers across multiple jurisdictions? All of these things are questions that have to be answered. So the question is, how could you see something that is nowhere yet everywhere?
Yeah.
And so, and the only way for that to have is that in your regulation is that you dictate where these data and information can be.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, we are looking forward to the day that the Securities Commission of the Bahamas is able to have a press conference and field questions. That would be a good day. Let's take this call before we got to end the show. Yeah, good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Plan.
Good morning to all.
Good morning.
I'm wondering if you're buying the excuse that, to the question the answer to the question from the Prime Minister whether the Bahamas had, the concerns of the Bahamas not having sufficient regulations, right, to regulate the space, and the Prime Minister's answer was that the people with the concerns are the people who wanted to control of the liquidation. Do you buy that? I mean, hello?
Yeah, well, people, spoken about the DARE Act and said that it's pretty good legislation.
They have in the United States, they have bills in Congress and Senate that address the insufficiency of the regulations there. But crypto, the coin is not regulated. That's why,
Yeah.
Have much regulations, and even just the regulations on the exchange where there's, I think, something about there being what you call it, a peg to dollars and the like,
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen here, right?
Yeah.
And but and the Prime Minister being a lawyer, you understand what I'm saying, and taunting this crypto space, he should be by now what you call it, an expert on crypto.
Mm-hmm.
You understand, as well as a Minister of Finance. Anyway, thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, let's try to take this final call before we got to go. Yeah, good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning, Chester.
Hey. Oh, it must be this line.
It's very sad that we're now looking into something that was discussed on Guardian Radio with Lester Cox in 2016. We should have had an exchange, and it should have been controlled and owned by our people and this country, not a foreigner coming here doing it. But I listened to looking at the time, I listened to the report, the business report, and the world's going to grow by only 3%. It grew by 6% last year or a year before. What will the other half of the people do? And so I think we need to have a serious discussion because
Yeah, sorry about that, Graham. That line is terrible. I don't know if it's your line or our line, but it must be our line. But appreciate your comments on that. Shout us tomorrow. That's our show for the day. On the Clock with Aaron Green is up next. Thanks for being with us on Morning Blend Business. Have a great day. God bless you all. Be good to each other, and I will see you tomorrow.
It's a new day.